We've all been there, guys. We meet an attractive woman, we strike up conversation, we get her number, set up the first date, and hook up with her that night. We go on a couple more dates and things go even better, and before you know it, you're starting to catch feelings for her. Now this is perfectly normal, because the more time you spend with someone, the more you like them. This is simple math, and if the sex is good, it accelerates the process. So you're dating an attractive woman you have a great time and great sex with, and things seem to be headed in the right direction, until you start thinking about what it's like to be in a long-term relationship with her. And I'm not talking about a 3 to 6 month relationship. No, I'm talking about dudes thinking about what it would be like to meet her parents, what it would be like for her to meet your parents, the names of your children, the kind of house you'll live in. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, whoa, that is way too fast. You'd be right. But men do this all the time. We want so badly to be in a relationship with a pretty girl we like both in and out of the bedroom that if we start dating someone who meets these 3 basic requirements, which is sexual attraction, kindness, and great sex, our minds jump into a time machine, and we almost involuntarily start planning our futures with these women before we've even dated her for a month. The danger that comes with this line of thinking is, number 1, it gives you unrealistic expectations, and number 2, we subconsciously stop the vetting process, and this is where we get into trouble. The minute you start thinking of a woman you're dating as your girlfriend and possibly even your future wife, your awareness about how women really operate goes completely dormant. When you visualize her as your wife or girlfriend, your mind subconsciously tells you that she fulfills all of the requirements necessary to secure your commitment. And when this happens, you stop setting boundaries, you stop making your expectations clear, you stop holding her accountable, the list goes on. What ends up happening is that she loses the motivation to keep you around because your actions are showing her that she's done enough to be your girl, and it's all downhill from there. She's texting her ex, she's posting sexy pictures on social media, and going to the club every Friday night with her girlfriends. And because you didn't stamp out this behavior from the start, which you would have learned how to do had you purchased my 5-part, 7-hour audio course, How to Build a Quality Woman from the Ground Up, these bad behaviors get worse and worse until she finally tells you that we should start seeing other people. Which really means she's been sleeping with Kevin in sales for the last 6 months. So here's lesson number 1, fellas. Never start thinking about a long-term relationship with a woman you've been dating for less than 6 months. Women are experts at appearing to be girlfriend or wife material for quite a while, but they can't do it forever. It's usually around the 3 to 4 month mark where they start showing their true colors, at which point you can act accordingly. So it's clear that men shouldn't allow their minds to jump into that time machine. If a man is aware of this and takes measures to avoid it, he'll be successful more often than not. Unfortunately for women, it does not work the same way. And that brings me to the show's biggest fan, Janelle Testa. She wrote an article entitled, "So I Met This Guy, Never Mind, He Ended Up Being Another Disappointment." Like the vast majority of women, and I'd put the number at around 97%, Miss Testa gets so excited about a guy she's sleeping with that she can't help but to think about a future with him. She tells her family and her friends all about him. She talks about how he's a great guy and how this one might be a keeper. But after about a week and a half, the guy she's dating figures out that he wants nothing to do with her outside of bedroom fun because Janelle no longer has the ability to fake being a quality woman for more than a week. So a special thanks goes out to Jimmy, who's one of my longtime patrons, for submitting this article. Before we get into this article, let me quickly... The lovely and talented Devin and I will teach you exactly how to set up and foster an environment conducive to a long, lasting, and healthy relationship. We will take you step by step through the process of building a rock-solid foundation for a relationship that will last. Plus, this course is absolutely jam-packed with bonuses. The first bonuses are the ebook and audiobook versions of the guide that will put you miles ahead of your competition, The 49 Laws of Sharpe. The 49 Laws of Sharpe is the first thing you should consume when you find this community because it gives you hard and fast truths about women, the dating market, and your own dating market value. This is a $50 value, absolutely free. The second bonuses are the audio and video version of my 25-hour game and seduction course, How to Master the Game. How to Master the Game will teach you how to attract, retain, and maintain a rotation of women until you decide to settle down. This is an additional $350 value added to the course. The third bonus is the test guide. The test guide gives you all the answers in terms of passing the kinds of tests women like to deploy at any point in a relationship. Learning to pass tests can literally be the difference between success and failure in your relationships. Add another $150 to the total value of the bonuses. Bonus 4 is the Gold Digger Guide. The Gold Digger Guide will make it damn near impossible for any woman with nefarious intentions to exploit you financially. This guide is a must if you are or will become a high earner. This is another $200 value free. The fifth bonus is the CME package. All enrollees will get access to all CME speeches and the never-before-seen CME post-speech interviews. Guys, this is another $300 value. But now it's time to reveal the last and final bonus, which is another $600 value to run the total value of all of your bonuses to over $1,600. And that is the one-of-a-kind video manual not found anywhere else that is literally the cheat code to female communication, womanese. That's right, gentlemen, I am including the video version of my signature course that has opened the eyes of millions of men. With over 600 translations, the treasure trove of the absolute golden knowledge within womanese will change your life. That sounds hyperbolic, but it's true. The ability to accurately decode female communications will open your eyes and your mind in ways you can never imagine. Again, a $600 value absolutely free for all enrollees. And don't forget the week-long Q&A Zoom calls that Devin and I will host, where we will answer all of your questions about building a foundation for a great relationship. And the enrollment period is only a few days long. This is your best opportunity to finally change your dating life for the better. So head on over to tsracademy.com/howtorelationship to lock down one of the last few spots available for this life-changing course. Link in description and up above. Okay, let's break down this article and figure out why Janelle Testa keeps getting ghosted on, shall we? She starts, have you ever met someone awesome and told everyone about them, only for them to disappear from your life not long after? Well, this happens to me all the time. Usually, I'm just dating someone and my big mouth tells everyone before we even know if we're compatible. She said this happens to her all the time, but what she's not telling us is why this happens to her all the time. Like I said earlier, Janelle no longer has the ability to fake the characteristics, habits, and traits of a woman who is worthy of a commitment longer than a week or two. The men that she has access to are low value, but even those guys are starting to figure out that they don't want to pay the '67 Stingray price for a '97 Honda Accord with 354,000 miles on it, so they bounce. Now, this wouldn't be happening if Miss Testa didn't overplay her hand and demand commitment too soon. She no longer has the leverage to make demands. When she was 21 years old, she did. But 10 years, 50 pounds, 20 tattoos, 3 abortions, and 671 hookups later, that leverage is long gone. The problem is, she doesn't know it yet, and that's why she's confused as to why dudes keep ghosting on her. So let's go to number 1. I'm a serial dater, she says. She continues, I go on date after date with person after person. Mostly guys, but the occasional lady too. I've gone on more dates than anyone I know. It's pretty out of hand, she says. There's generally always been someone in my life in some capacity. Now, one thing jumps out to me immediately, and that's the dates with other women. Something that most men are grossly unaware of, and sometimes even deny because of ego, is that most Western women have slept with more women than most men. This chick gets more dates with women than the average man, and that's not atypical in today's dating market. Women are so inundated with sausages that they like to eat the occasional taco just to mix things up. Yes, gentlemen, women get so much sex from men they actually start to get bored, so they go on dates with other women. This happens a lot more often than you might think, and I would even go as far as to say it's a regular occurrence. Then right at the end, she says there's always been someone in my life in some capacity, which means she's always sleeping with someone. She said it herself, guys. She goes on date after date with person after person, so she never gets a break. So while we may laugh when I say she's hooked up with 671 dudes, that might be a conservative number. And when the guy she starts dating sees the sign of her banana gobbling ways, they hit the eject button. My relationships never last lately, she continues. Years ago, I was in one long-term relationship after another. Nowadays, though, my relationships hardly last a month. I average being with someone about 3 to 6 weeks. I'll get all worked up about this person, only for it to come to a screeching halt before it really takes off. I'm definitely left regularly saying, never mind, to everyone around me that heard all about this person. Back in episode 242, I talked about the 8 most common types of banana gobblers you'll encounter and how to get them between the sheets. And number 6 was what I like to call a serial girlfriend S-word. I also told a story about how I completely missed a boat on an obvious choosing signal, which delayed me hooking up with a girl by about 1.5 years. You can check that out on patreon.com/Donovan Sharpe. That was a crazy story. Anyway, Janelle is a serial girlfriend S-word. She is in and out of relationships all the time. But just because you're committed to someone does not mean you're not a banana gobbler. A girl will have 6 boyfriends in a month and claim that she's not a cucumber connoisseur because the half dozen guys she slept with were all her boyfriends at the time. Commitment or not, sleeping with that many guys in a short period of time absolutely makes you an eggplant enthusiast, which means your body count is probably in the triple digits. I probably sleep with them too soon, big shock there. In an ideal world, she says, I would wait for weeks, even months to sleep with someone. In my reality, however, it happens very quickly. I sometimes sleep with them on the first or second date or within the very first few weeks of dating. There's nothing inherently wrong with this except that I don't think it's getting me what I desire, which is a nice and healthy long-term relationship. Waiting to sleep with them would give me a better chance. Correction, she sleeps with them on the first date every time. Well, how do you know? Are you in her bedroom? No, I am most certainly not in Janelle Testa's bedroom and never will be. But I don't have to be to know she's given it up on the first date every time. Plus, she gave herself away when I talked about one of her articles a few days ago when she admitted that her friend staged an intervention to slow down her hookups. Miss Testa is doing what all women do when it comes to their dating lives, and that is drastically minimizing the truth. She bangs these dudes on the first date every time, but she says I sometimes, which means she wants us to believe that she doesn't do it all the time. Then she says first or second or within the first few weeks of dating to make us think she sometimes waits to sleep with these guys, which we know to be 713% false. Then right at the end, she acknowledges that waiting to have sex with them increases her chance of a long-term relationship. So now you're probably thinking, well, if she knows that abstaining from sex for a few weeks gives her a better shot at commitment, then why does she keep sleeping with these guys on the first date? Simple. Women lack impulse control. When women decide they want to do something, they rarely have the discipline to see the bigger picture and think about the potential consequences of their actions. Spending money and sleeping with random guys are two things women have no discipline to delay gratification with. And that's exactly why most women have taken a lot of sausage and have a lot of debt. I think I know who's going to stick. She continues, I imagine our future life together and get carried away with fantasizing, projecting into the future. In doing so, I'm swept away by thinking right out of the present moment. I'm not even living a life with this person. I'm dreaming about what could be. I definitely could benefit from keeping my head outside of the clouds and looking at where my feet are. Now, this is the other side of the brain time machine phenomenon I talked about earlier. For every guy who starts dreaming about what it would be like to be in a long-term relationship with a girl you've been dating for an hour and a half, 5 girls do the same, especially desperate girls like Janelle. Now, I've already talked about why this isn't good for men, but the reason it's bad for women is that when women start to visualize the future with a particular guy, they get clingy and start acting like an obsessive stalker. I've had this happen to me many times, but believe it or not, it's not always a bad thing. The hotter and younger the girl, the less I mind when she starts acting nutty. Don't get me wrong, I will certainly put her in check and handle her craziness, but pretty girls are a lot more palatable in this regard than older, less attractive women. And this is exactly why Miss Testa ends up shooting herself in the foot. She gets all obsessed and starts pushing for a relationship because she's entertaining thoughts of the future with a guy she's seeing. Back when she was in her early 20s, this didn't scare dudes away because she was young and pretty. But now that she's an overweight, tatted up, bull ring wearing, card carrying feminist who has a pharmacy in her medicine cabinet to keep her mind away from crazy thoughts and actions, the guy pulls the ripcord and gets the hell up out of there. Nothing wrong with girls putting their brains in a time machine, but they can only do it when they're young and pretty if they actually want the guy to stick around. I worry, she says, I'm incapable of having a long-term relationship. She continues, all of the serial dating BS has me thinking that there's something fundamentally wrong with me. I low-key worry that I'll never be able to have a long-term relationship, that I'll forever be chasing boy after boy. I know this is crap though. I can't be broken. I'm a lovable human being worthy of love, she says. I have to shut down those voices in my head telling me I'm not good enough. This is the problem with women like Janelle Testa. The truth is staring them right in the face. But because they haven't realized that A, they're no longer attractive, and B, they've been with so many men they can't emotionally bond to men anymore, they deny the fact that they are no longer viable for relationships with men of value. She said that the serial dating has her thinking there's something fundamentally wrong with her. And she's right. There is something fundamentally wrong with her. And she doesn't low-key worry that she'll never be in a relationship. She worries about it all the time because she knows that she is broken. Now, she can tell herself she can't be broken as many times as she wants, but deep down, she knows the truth. This is exactly why she has to shut down those voices in her head that tell her she's not good enough, because she knows those voices are telling her the truth. The fact that she says out loud, "I can't be broken," says that she is indeed broken. And men who know how women really operate know that broken men can be fixed, but broken women cannot. As it happens, women know this too, which is why they're in constant denial about it. "Someone will stick someday," she says. "Call me a hopeless romantic, but I don't think I can be stuck in this pattern forever. I think something's gotta give. Eventually someone will stick. I will have an actual relationship someday and this pattern will stop haunting me. It may last for a little while longer first." That's just the antidepressants talking. That's all this is. The pills make her a hopeless romantic because without them, she'd just be hopeless. Now, when she says something's gotta give, she's right. Something will give, which is her finally coming to the realization that she'll never be in a relationship of consequence with a man she respects and loves, who also loves her. When she says that she'll have a relationship someday and the pattern will stop haunting her, that's wishful thinking. She knows she'll continue the pattern, but the anti-anxiety med she's on allows her to remain delusional about her future. "I can't be the only one with this experience." She continues, "Sometimes I feel totally crazy, but I know I can't be the only one who's experiencing this. I mean, there's a meme that says, 'I met someone,' then 2 days later, never mind. If a meme exists," she says, "there have to be lots of other people having these feelings. I'll find peace and comfort in that." Well, she's right. She's definitely not the only one with this experience. This experience is widespread. But the fact that she says, "I can't be the only one with this experience," says that she thinks that what she's going through is not normal. Janelle thinks she's some special unicorn who's stuck in this pattern of sleeping with a guy, getting excited, becoming neurotic and obsessive, getting ghosted on, rinse and repeat. But this happens to girls every day. The problem is, she's not finding peace and comfort in any of that. Otherwise, she wouldn't be on 5 different medications to quell her depressing thoughts. And if you don't believe me about her medications, just go look at her Instagram page. So anyone watching who thinks I'm just making up arbitrary rhetoric to sound clever or funny, think again. The things I talk about are rooted in fact, and that's the only way I know how to do it. "I'm taking a break." This may come as a surprise, she says, but lately, I have actually been single. I'm taking a break from dating because my tactics obviously aren't working for me. I'm going to refresh over the course of a few months, maybe a whole year, and then I'm going to try to start dating again. Hopefully, "never mind" will make itself scarce in my vocabulary. First off, nobody's surprised that you've been single. The reasons are obvious. Secondly, you're not taking a break from the dating market, sweetie. The dating market is taking a break from you, as in a permanent break. Okay, you'll get the occasional one-night stand with a guy who's desperate, and you might even score a friends with benefits arrangement for a week or two. But a relationship is out of the question for you, even with low-value men. And it's not your tactics that aren't working, Janelle. It's that you aren't working, which means that you're not worth committing to anymore. "Never mind" will remain a staple in your vocabulary until you come to the realization that all you're good for is sex, and it won't be long before you're not even good for that. So guys, am I being too hard on Janelle and women like her, or should I keep bringing the heat? And ladies, are you going to admit that you're just like Miss Testa, or will you continue to act delusional like Miss Testa? Let me know in the comments below.